radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Welcome. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Good evening. Today is Thursday. It's FADERNIGHT. August 30th, 2018. 243 days into the new year, just 122 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking? How you doing? How you doing? It's Thursday night. Got a very special program lined up this evening. It is Thursday, which means it's FADERNIGHT, and we've got John Rappaport here at the bottom of the hour. And it's No More Fake Newsroom Live. That's right. So that's at the bottom of the hour. And then at the top of the hour, Jason Quitt joins us. Yep, Jason's going to be here. He's going to help me man the phones tonight. We've got a big announcement about his new movie and website, so we'll handle all of that in just a bit, so just be patient, and that'll be at the top of the hour, and we're going to take phone calls all night long with Jason Quitt right here. Now, we're only going to be using the main phone line tonight, 323-825-5045, and so one phone line, and there you go, okay? I'll tell you, though, before, this is one of the things that's great about being the host of Fade to Black, is Jason and I, we do a sound check, right? We do a sound check with every guest on the show to make sure that everything is hunky-dory. So I'm sitting there with Jason, and I got a sneak peek at his studio. It's pretty nice. It is. It's pretty nice. Nice studio. And got to look at a couple of his new guitars and what he's doing. There you go. Okay, so that's tonight. Thursday night, FADERNIGHT, my favorite night of the week. Your phone calls all night long. And, of course, Jason Quitt's going to be right here. It's going to be really cool. And there you go. So let's move on as quick as we can. On Stellar, ONSTELLAR.com, the new great social media platform built just for you. All things conspiracy, supernatural, paranormal, everything under the sun. Go over there, make friends, post, read everybody's stuff that they are putting up there. It's just a social media platform. If you want to use it like the other social media platforms, well, there's only one, really, Facebook. You can use it. Same thing. Friends list, groups, schedule events. You can block. So if you want to use it just like that, it's all available. You've got chat functions, and you can message people and, PM. So all of those things are there. But it's about the community and how they write things and share their knowledge and post articles, and you can just go over and read through. It's absolutely amazing. OnStellar.com. And when you head over there, if you haven't registered yet, register and use my promo code, referral code, Jimmy. That's all you got to do. Okay, so head over to OnStellar today. Very soon here, we're going to be out. We're going to leave Facebook, and I don't know what to do about YouTube. That's a perplexing thing. The same thing with Facebook. Facebook on our radio page, I don't know exactly, but we probably have 10, 15, 20,000 followers there. And so that's an issue. I've got 5,000 friends on my friends list that I stay in touch with and let them know about the show. And some people just only use Facebook, right? So there's that part. So what do I do with those, I don't know, 15, 20, 25,000 people over there? I don't know. Same thing at YouTube, where we have, I don't know, how many, 50, 60,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. What do we do with those? It's probably more than that. And what do we do? So now lump that all together, and it's close to probably 100,000 people. What do we do with them? I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. It's a perplexing thing. But in the meantime, they're still chugging along, and we're still posting and keeping those channels alive. But you can go and do that. But certainly follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Next week, Jack Dorsey of Twitter going to testify. I don't know if it's Congress or the Senate. I don't know, but he's heading over there. I don't know who bailed. Somebody just bailed. Was it the head of Google? The head of Google bailed. Said, I'm not going to do it. He's sending like his number 2 or number 3, number 4, or whatever. But yeah, next week, Jack Dorsey. Wow. Yeah, it's going down. So you can follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I don't know, the conspiracies behind, the conspiracy theory, I should say, behind shadow banning on Twitter, and removing followers and content and depriving content. I don't know if that's, I don't know if it's real. It seems like it could be real, but to go and testify in front of Congress, I think Zuckerberg got caught lying on a few different points with Washington, and that's a tough thing to go through because they're going to catch you in something. And when you have a company that large, I would think bringing the head of the company in sounds good because of the name involved, the publicity, but you don't know every single detail. You just don't. And I found Zuckerberg just doing the dance with generic answers because he really couldn't answer a whole lot, factually. I'll get back to you on that. I'll get back to you. Can you give me a written question, and I'll get back to you on that. I think that's an honest answer, man. You're trying to be truthful. So anyway, that's next week, Jack Dorsey, and you can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. The Sandbox tonight, every night, is hashtag F2B on Twitter. Come and hang out with us over there. It's so much fun. We use TweetDeck. I haven't mentioned that in a while. I had heard, let's see, I must admit I'm lazy social media guy, but I love the tweet feed during the show. Yeah, this is from Jimmy Kane. Hello, Jimmy. I've never seen you here before, but I did nail my OnStellar space very early, though. Knockdown, drag out, rock and roll party in the street, rare FM spin from 1981. Can anyone name the band? Knockdown, drag out, party in the street. That's right. Of course I know that song. I don't know. Who Who sang that song? That's really. Let's see here. Hold on. Axe. Knockdown, drag out, party in the streets. That's good, man. That's good. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We have over 900 archive shows, custom apps, Apple, Android, just $2 a month. Click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can also become a Fade or Not in our membership section, and that is also very simple to do. Two different things. Podcast and the membership are two different things. And when you become an official Fade or Not, you're going to get the bunker cam. That's the first cool thing. You're going to get a private email to me. Second cool thing. And then you've got a bunch of options in front of you if you want the commercial-free archives of the show that you can download. You can do that there. You can also become the game changer that you are and get autographed hats and T-shirts. You can get all of that stuff right there in our membership section and become a Fade or Not today. All of our sponsors, I just got off the phone with Ronnie McMullen and Life Change Tea, one of the great companies out there, period. Life Change Tea. GetTheTea.com, of course, Ancient Life Oil, CBD, River Moon Coffee. Hey, we've got the Rita. Let's fire that up tomorrow. We've got the new CB Doc. Yeah, test run though. It's a test batch. It's one that we're supposed to just check out. But we've got CB Doc. I'm going to check that out tomorrow. Sacred Skulls. Amazing handmade jewelry, Sacred Skulls. The banners are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Numana Food Storage. Numana Food Storage, emergency food storage for you and your family. Absolutely delicious, GMO, organic, the best, MSG free, right? So just head over, click on the banners for Numana at jimmychurchradio.com. Use the promo code Jimmy10, that's the number 10. You're going to get 10% off. You're going to get free shipping. You're going to get an autographed T-shirt, and you're going to get peace of mind. All of that for an order over $100 right there. Numana Food Storage. And, of course, Bearing Optics, makers of night vision goggles. The best. All right? So just click and go visit Alec Hoffman over at Bearing Optics. He's a Fade or Not. And get yourself some night vision goggles and go see your very own green chrome balls. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today, Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz is 46. I did it. Yeah, Cameron Diaz. And you know why? Listen to this. She was in The Mask with Jim Carrey. How about There's Something About Mary? How about Being John Malkovich, Vanilla Sky, Gangs of New York, and she was great in that. Charlie's Angels. And you know what? I really liked Bad Teacher. That you're going to make the list. When you have a resume like that, you're going to make the list. Happy birthday today to Cameron Diaz, 46 years old. On this day in history, OTD, the hotline between the United States and the Soviet Union goes into operation, hopefully to ensure that some accidental war, nuclear of that variety, would never happen. Fade or fact. Okay, I need you to listen to me. Really turn up, get close to the speaker. Listen to me. Fade or fact. Pluto. From the time that it was discovered to the time that it was denounced as a planet, did not complete a single trip around the sun. That's a fader fact. What do you make about it? Think about that for a second. Pluto, from the time it was discovered to the time it got kicked out of the club, it did not complete a single trip around the sun. That planet is slow. It's probably going to get back in. So my next fader fact about Pluto next year will be from the time that it was discovered to the time that it was denounced to the time that it was made a planet again, it did not complete a single trip around the sun. And that is your Fader fact. Tonight is another Fader Night with John Rappaport, and there's No More Fake Newsroom live. That's right, tonight, in a few short minutes. And then at the top of the hour, Jason Quitt. Jason Quitt's going to be here. He's going to help me man the phones all night long. We've got a very big special announcement tonight about his new movie and how that is being done and where you can go check it out. All of that is going to happen tonight with Jason Quitt. We're going to use one phone line tonight. I'll be putting it out there on Twitter, but just let you know. The main line, 323-825-5045. Let me hit this coffee. Monday, we did Twitter night, right? And one of the questions, and this is Thursday, you know, this is our night where I can just sit and talk with all of you and have some fun and do our thing. So I'm going to do that right now. So Monday was Twitter night. And one of the questions that popped up, it was like, hey, man, tell us a scary story or something like that. You know, what was your scariest moment? And I had to stop and think about that, right? Well, actually, after the show was over, it came to me. Okay, it came to me. And I want to revisit this. And I know that I have told this story maybe once or twice before, but it's a true story. Well, it's got to be true. That's the fun part. But it really happened how I'm going to lay it out to you. So let me just take you down a trip down memory lane. We're going to go back to Indianapolis, Indiana. And out in Indianapolis, especially back in the day, I can't speak for today. I can't. I've been out in this area now, and it's definitely been gentrified and turned into suburbia. But when I was in Indy from 1972 all the way to I moved to California in 1983. This part of the east side was all cornfields. Okay, so just imagine that, just cornfields for miles, everywhere you go, cornfield. And our little subdivision that we lived in with my family, my parents, a street called Starview Drive, and you can go and look it up, Indianapolis Starview Drive, and it'll take you out to the east side into Cumberland, and you can look up that street, and we're on Starview Drive. I don't remember the address, but the house is still there. And there's a pool in the backyard. So look for all the houses with pools in the backyard, and then there's probably one in that neighborhood. So anyway, all right, I digress. During the year after our graduation from high school, which would have been 1981, right in that general timeline, 1981, summer of 1981, out off of German Church Road, German Church Road and 25th Street, between 25th Street and 38th Street. Okay, and if you want to go to Google Maps, you can go and look at that. There were some train tracks there. And along the train tracks where German Church Road was this dirt road that jetted off to the east. And it was just like this weird road that was all by itself. A little dirt like a path, but it was a road. And one day, I was by myself. I turned up this road because the road, as it went east, went into a clump of trees. And the clump of trees was about, I'm thinking, quarter mile away, maybe not quite a half mile. That would be too far. Quarter mile away. Clump of a pretty big chunk of trees. And I turned and I took the dirt road up to these trees. And it ended. And I was, and I pulled my car around, and there was, in the middle of this cornfield, was like this patch, and I'm going to say the size of a football field. Okay, so imagine that, a patch of grass, but it was kind of tall, uncut grass, but this like weird square thing. And next to it were these electrical lines. So we called this place. Well, anyway, I leave and I grabbed my friend and said, hey, man, I found the perfect drinking place where we can go. You know, I was 18. I was 17, 18 years old. So we go, and I take my friends, Jim McLeister and Kurt Stokes and maybe a couple of others, and we get some beer. And we go to the spot, and we were there in the middle of the day. We turn around, we park, and open up some beers, and we got this little grass field in front of us, and then beyond that, cornfields. But there was like this weird patch of grass, the size of a football field, and then behind us are trees, and behind that is the street. So we're all blocked, and we're all secluded, and nobody knows we're there. And we're 18 years old. We're too young to drink legally, so we had a place where we can go and drink, our little spot. And McLeister, he's probably listening right now, named this spot the Electric Company. Call it the Electric Company because of the power lines. It's a little patch of things, and that was our little spot. So at night, we would go, we'd get our friends together. Okay, let's go to the Electric Company. Okay, cool. German Church Road, right-hand turn on the dirt road, pull around the trees, and for probably a good chunk of time, a few nights a week for maybe a year or two. It was a while. That was our spot, the Electric Company. We couldn't go to nightclubs, right? So, all right. One night we pile into this car. I'm driving, and it was a big car, like a Buick Electra or something. Big car. 2 bench seats, right? Back seat and front seat. And we probably had 6 of us, right? And we all go, and we pull into the Electric Company. It's at night. And I back the car in, and as we were sitting there drinking, it got foggy. And it did, it's not that big of a deal, but it got foggy, and it got foggier. And it got to the point where the fog was like, just covered us. Could not see like the hood of the car. And now remember, on the outside of this fog, we know what's out there. It's this, square patch of grass the size of a football field, surrounded by corn, fields, a wall of corn kind of thing. That's in front of us, but we know that we're completely alone. There's nothing, no houses, nothing for miles, right? We're in the middle of nowhere. And I'm sitting at the driver's seat, drinking, probably smoking some weed. And out of the fog, from the front of the car, comes this figure. And black. And hooded. And comes up, and we freak. Just out of the fog. And he comes up to the driver's window, and I'm looking straight ahead, right? And I can't even look at the guy. I'm just looking ahead. He's right here, and he knocks on the window, and nobody. We're all sitting there like, oh my god, and I roll down the window, and there was some screaming going on. There was some freaking out, and the dude, and I won't even. I'm like looking at him like this. I'm freaking, and he looks down at me, and it's just a black face. Right? He goes, "Have you seen my dog?" What? Have you seen my dog? Oh my God. And McLeister, who is sitting next to me, is looking ahead and freaking out. McLeister, Mr. Big, tall, tough dude, looking ahead. Did he just say, have you seen my dog? I think so, man. Have you seen my dog? I roll up. He walks away, turns around, and walks back into the fog. And disappears. Gone. And I have never been that terrified in my life. The next day, okay, so we freak, and I know that we left. I can't even remember details beyond that. I remember, though, all of us, and I'm talking about 18-year-old kids that, were tough, not at that moment, right? So we got out of there. The next day, we went back, and I remember McCleister asked, I wish McCleister would call in. McCleister, you need to call into the show. The next day, we go back and park the car and just look. We parked the car in the middle of the day, and there is nothing. You can't see a thing. There are no houses. It's nothing but cornfields to the horizon. There's this big chunk of grass in front of us, like I said, about the size of maybe an acre, like the size of a football field. It's in front of us, and there's a wall of corn. There's no houses. There's nothing. And this guy was walking in this cornfield in the middle of nowhere, right? And found our car in the fog. That's a true story. And I look back at that and I think about it. Last year, McCleister calls me up. Maybe it was about 2 years ago. Heard me tell the story on the air. And he called me up laughing. And we talked about it. And it was one of the most frightening real things ever. And we, for a while after that whole, have you seen my dog? Was such a funny thing to say. I was terrified. I still can't believe I rolled down the window. I can't believe it. And and there was another funny twist to the story. Can I throw somebody under the bus? I'll throw McCleister under the bus. McCleister said to me, he goes, dude, I was driving the car. You were in the passenger seat. I said, no. We were driving my parents' car. No. I was driving the car. He was in the passenger. I remember looking at him like this. But so anyway, he then backed off and said, yeah, I think you're right. You were driving. So maybe his memory, his fondest memory about this. But so the next day, that's where the chilling part of all of this came in for me. It's certainly for McCleister, because when we were sitting there during the day and the reality hit us that there was nothing there, and we knew that there was nothing there because that's why we went there, to go and drink in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the night, to get away from everybody so nobody would find us. It was all alone. Now, you can go and look. I'm going to do it during the break. We're going to bring John Rappaport in here. German Church Road, between 25th Street and 38th. I don't know if 30th Street goes through. It might, but right there in Cumberland on the east side of Indianapolis. I'll grab a screenshot of it, and I'll see if I can find the electric company for you. And I doubt that it's cornfields today. So there you go. That's the scariest story that I got. And I've got 6 friends that were witnesses. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to get out of here because when I come back, we're going to be joined by John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live. Fade to Black, Thursday night, Fader night at the top of the hour. Jason Quitt's going to be here. He's going to help me man the phones all night long. Got a special announcement about his new movie. What is it? What's the name? Where are you going to go check it out? All of that at the top of the hour. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Karma Records. How do you know about Karma Records? There's somebody from Indianapolis right there, Jimmy K. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at getthetea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at getthetea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at getthetea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. Getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at KGRAradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
And now, coming to you from the No More Fake Newsroom in deep space, which is the space that we suspect to be true, that the world as it is fed to us every day by the ministry of truth is a lie, a false reality, a movie projected on the screen of our subconscious. This, however, is the breakout. All the screens crash, they all go down, and we see the light of day. A new day. No more robots, no more androids. It's the No More Fake Newsroom with John Rappaport. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you very much. Good to be here as always. We've got several medical stories tonight that intersect, collide, crash, smash up, and so on, as they tend to do. And I will provide some context along the way because I've been tracking these sorts of stories for, I don't know, let's call it 30 years now. 30. Here are some stats to consider. More than 1 in 5 adults, talking about the U.S., was on at least one psychiatric medication in the year 2010, which was an increase of 22% from the year 2000. Think about that. More than 1 in 5 adults, that's more than 20%, was on at least one psychiatric drug in the year 2010. Now, maybe you're so used to this by now that everybody you know is on some kind of psychiatric med that this doesn't make much of an impression on you. But if you could back up mentally 4 or 5 steps and take a look at this and what it means for the country, you would change your attitude. One more time. More than 1 in 5 adults was on at least one psychiatric drug in 2010. More than 25% of adult women were on mental health meds in 2010 versus 15% of men. 21% of women were on antidepressants. That's 21% of the women in the United States were on an antidepressant or one of the antidepressants. 11% of women aged 45 to 65 were on anti-anxiety meds. 11%. 4% of adults were on medication for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and there are an estimated 5.4 million children who have been diagnosed with ADHD. The figures for the use of these antidepressants in children are even more appalling, being 2 to 3% of children are on antidepressants. Especially scary since the drugs themselves can increase the risk of suicide, to say nothing of violence and murder. So then I write, this is from an article I wrote, I think it was yesterday. How many people, actually today, how many people are on psychiatric drugs was the headline at No More Fake News. And then I write, these numbers show there is a plague afoot in America, a plague of diagnosing and prescribing drugs. Now, I've spent a great deal of time over the last several years writing, and on this show I've explained that there is no psychiatric disorder or mental, so-called mental disorder, none, that has a defining diagnostic lab test. None. Zero. Of the 300 or so supposed mental disorders that exist, none have a defining diagnostic lab test. No blood test, no urine test, no brain scan, no genetic assay, nothing. If that comes as a shock to you, good. Good. Read some of my other articles about psychiatric drugs and psychiatric diagnoses. All of the psychiatric drugs have harmful effects on the body and the brain. All. So, what does that picture look like to you with the stats that I've just given you? It looks like something unimaginable if you were to be able to look at it with the necessary freshness of mind. Freshness of mind is a great thing. To be able to look at factoids and situations as if for the first time. because then you can begin to see the enormity of the situation that you're looking at. Instead of just saying, well, sure, I mean, I know everybody's on psychiatric drugs. No, that response doesn't work. That's not good enough. Because that response is sort of like a victim's response, or somebody who's dead but still walking around. Well, you know, I mean, okay, let's switch from that to another article that I wrote, and this gets more deeply into the situation here. And this would be, I'm pulling it up now. The headline on this was Why Medically Caused Deaths Continue to Be Ignored. And I start off by mentioning the Starfield report, which is familiar to anybody who's been listening to the show since I've been doing weekly reports. Dr. Barbara Starfield, who passed away several years ago now, was a revered public health expert at the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, mainstream, meticulous credentials all the way down the line. Happened to be a wonderful woman, which I know from having interviewed her. In the year 2000, July 26th to be exact, the Journal of the American Medical Association, another highly prestigious mainstream journal, published a review by Dr. Starfield called Is U.S. Health Really the Best in the World? In it, she states her conclusion from research that every year in the U.S., the medical system kills 225,000 people. That means every decade, 2.25 million people in the U.S. are killed by the medical system. Try looking at that factoid with fresh eyes as if for the first time. And if your mind is not blown, there's something wrong with you. Now, she breaks this down and talks about medicines and says that of this 225,000 people killed every year by the medical system, 106,000 a year are killed by FDA-approved medicines. I've been reporting on this for years now. I don't know how many times I've written about it. Many times. Mainstream press has never picked up on it. Totally ignores it. When the Starfield report first came out in the year 2000, there was a flurry of articles, but that died out, and from that point on, almost nothing appeared in the mainstream press. So, why not? Why not? Silence in the press. Now I'm quoting from my article. On one obvious level, it stems from the fact that the pharmaceutical industry buys enormous amounts of ads on and around news media. Do not bite the hand that feeds you. Understood, obviously, right? Advertising revenues would be removed if mainstream press outlets began digging deep and on a continuing basis into this incredible tale of fact about how many people are dying every year as a result of pharmaceutical drugs. But that's just the beginning of why there is silence. Then I write, of course, blaming the medical system for 1 million deaths per decade. Well, if you're the New York Times and you're making this into a take no prisoners ongoing building story, you're going to incur considerable heat, blowtorch heat. If one of these major press outlets like the Times or the Washington Post or CBS suddenly broke out of the pack and said, you know what? We're going to research and dig into this story about medically caused deaths all the way down to the ground and below. And we're not going to stop until we find out how this possibly can be happening and why the federal government is making no overall effort to remedy and change this Holocaust. That media outlet would come under some major heat. People would have to wear hazmat suits to work. Then there is this. Listen carefully to this one. Nowhere in the medical literature is there any evidence, based on published studies of drugs, that these drugs do such catastrophic damage. In fact, the studies and reports of clinical drug trials are largely glowing. Only one conclusion can be reached. The medical literature is rife with fraud from top to bottom. This fact would immediately throw the reputation of the most prestigious medical journals in the world into garbage landfills. You've got drugs killing 1 million people per decade, medical drugs in the U.S., and yet in the medical journals, you're finding largely reports on all these drugs that are glowing and very positive. There's only one conclusion to reach: total fraud at every level. The journals are fraudulent. The authors of the studies are fraudulent. Everybody. And then I say, indeed, we have on the record an editor of one of these publications broadly confessing to a mind-boggling reality. Dr. Marcia Angel, editor of the New York Journal of Medicine, the New England Journal of Medicine, for 20 years, has written the following. It is simply no longer possible to believe much of the clinical research that is published, or to rely on the judgment of trusted physicians or authoritative medical guidelines. I take no pleasure in this conclusion, which I reached slowly and reluctantly over my 2 decades as an editor of the New England Journal of Medicine. Wow. Try to look at that quote with a fresh mind, as if for the first time. Marcia Angel, doctor, made that comment in the New York Review of Books on January 15, 2009, in an article called Drug Companies and Doctors, A Story of Corruption. Here's yet another reason why medically caused deaths continue to be ignored. If the press dug deep into the guts of the Starfield story, the FDA, which must approve all medical drugs before they're released for public use, would go down with a blinding crash. No one would be able to defend the agency. Its profound criminal alliance with pharma would come full force to the surface. The FDA would simply be done, finished. Multiple medical schools would come under the gun for their relationships with pharma and their basic practice of teaching monopolistic drug medicine and not nutritional medicine. These schools pretend, quote, the evidence of safety and efficacy for, end quote, for drugs is invariably clear. Therefore, they, the medical schools are abetting what amounts to a capital crime. And what of the basic Hippocratic oath to first do no harm? Where is that vaunted pledge that tries to establish the practice of medicine as supremely ethical? As you can see, a whole long line of dominoes would fall if the Starfield story were pursued by the mainstream with time, energy, money, and passion for the truth. And Starfield is not the only citation on medically caused deaths. In the past, I've documented other citations that are just as chilling and just as mainstream. And finally, we arrive at a psychological and even philosophical reason for press silence on this ongoing Holocaust. And I think anybody listening to this show who's a regular will be able to relate to this. Just think of your favorite story, your favorite non-mainstream covered, far out, fantastic story, okay? For millions of people, the institution of medicine is a foundational pillar of reality in the world. Attachment to it is, in a way, mythological. Loyalty to the medical system runs the gamut from hope for raw physical survival to spiritual sustenance, creating doubt, widespread doubt about such a powerful building block of existence. That would be tinkering with the very structure of things, which is exactly what I'm doing here. So, for example, if your favorite story happens to be UFOs, you can say, well, the root reason that this story has not been widely covered and correctly covered by the mainstream for the last, 60, 70 years, is because the idea of we are alone, there are no aliens, there are no ETs, is a foundational pillar of our reality. And the notion of cracking that foundational pillar of existence is something that the mainstream does not intend to do. When the story gets that heavy, they do not intend to fracture and crumble a foundational pillar of reality. And by that, in case there's any doubt, I mean the basic things that people cling to that keep them comfortably deceived about their lives and about reality and about the universe and about the government and about the state and about sacred institutions and about organized religion, etc., etc., etc. All of those basic things that most of the sheep on the planet comfort themselves with. The press is not about to smash those foundational structures, which is exactly what would happen if the medical facts that I'm alluding to here were not only made public, but pounded on day after day, as they should be in the press, and investigated fully at great depth, forcing people to come out of hiding, medical people, and admit their own crimes and roll over on other even higher up people in the structure. That's the deal, folks. That's reality tinkering. And that's what reporters are actually supposed to do. They're supposed to, taking a quote from the great movie Network, meddle with the primal forces of nature, That's what they're supposed to do. That's why anybody who wants to become a journalist of any significance wants to become a journalist. Because the so-called primal forces, many of them turn out to be fakes, deceptions, mind control, methods of hypnotizing the public and keeping them in their confined spaces. And I think I'll leave it right there. That's my report for tonight.
Unbelievable, John. Once again, and I'm going to take things one thought further, and which is scarier probably than everything that you just said. And it's this: the real reason why it's not investigated, the real reason why it's not reported on, the real reason why is because nobody wants to give up their vacation homes, the Mercedes in the driveway, the bonus checks, the money, the lobbying money, and that's what it comes down to. It is such a powerful drug, money, and they are willing to turn the other cheek and take money instead. And I
agree absolutely, except for this. I think that there is another level, except it's an unconscious level, that everybody lives on, including the press, the people who are corrupt, the good people, everybody. And on the subconscious level, there is a whole other drama being played out, which has to do with, shall we protect fake reality or shall we expose it for what it is?
Yeah, and so combine both of them. You're absolutely right, and you combine both of them, and you've got our reality today on how this is dealt. That gravy train, and the lack of morals of those that are riding that gravy train, which is millions of people, of that money gravy train. Their existence on this planet, they're here for a short time. They don't care about repercussions, the effects on other people. Their little bubble in their world, that little secular thing that is their existence, is being fed money, and they don't care about the rest of the planet or anybody else or health risk or anything at all. They would rather go to Vegas and gamble for the weekend on Big Pharma's money. And to them, that makes it all okay. It's somebody else's problem. And combine that with everything, you're absolutely right. It's a dangerous world. Dangerous. Powerful night tonight, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jimmy, as always.
We'll see you next Thursday. And I'll say it again. Thank you so much, John. Like I do every Thursday night, start off your day every day at nomorefakenews.com. All right. Thank you so much, John. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. And when I come back, we're going to kick off this Fader Night Thursday night with our very special guest. Jason Quitt joins me. He's going to help me man these phones. We're going to do a couple of special announcements tonight. It's going to be a great night. Stay right there. I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out! That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Well, yes. We are also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly Ancient Life Oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It's Fader Night, Thursday night. I want to thank John Rappaport. That was stunning. NoMoreFakeNews.com. You need to go there. Check it out. All right, it's Thursday night, Fader Night. Open lines all night long. I would like to welcome to the program our good friend, Jason Quitt. Jason, good evening.
Good evening, Jimmy. Great show so far.
Man. Fade to Black. I am able to host this show, and I'm here nearly every single night, and it is just the greatest job in the world. And somebody pinch me. This is what I do for a gig, right? It's like the best, man, the best audience. John Rappaport. I'm able to come in here and tell ghost stories, and there you go. Hey, before we move forward, did you hear the intro to the show when I told the story about the electric company?
I did.
It's a true story. Really happened. The Grim Reaper, man. But I posted up on Twitter for everybody. Go over and check it out at JChurchRadio and follow me over there. I jumped on during Rappaport, and I found the electric company. So I posted a picture of it, and what's funny is because I was able to go and grab this image, and I got to post it up there. Now I remember why we called it the electric company, because the electric company was in front of us. It was this power station, and I completely forgot about that. But I posted a picture of it. And I want to tell everybody exactly what is going on here. With this image, it says German Church Road in between 25th Street and 30th Street. You can see the subdivision that's up to the north there. That wasn't there. This was all cornfields. and you can see the dirt road, the string of trees right there. That was train tracks back then. Now it looks like they took the train tracks out, and it's all trees now. And I put a red circle there. That red circle, these buildings, whatever they are, were not there. And I described the acre or the patch of grass that was in front of us, and you can see that's there. You can see the trees that I was talking about. You can see the dirt road that we'd pull up, and that's exactly where we were parked. We would back up our car, and there's the electric company. You can see the cornfields over here, and there are cornfields. But I just looked at this at Google Maps now, and it's all subdivisions now. But it was all cornfields back then. But there it is, the electric company. And you can see to the west, you can see it's all fields. It was not, this was no man's land back 30 years ago. And there it is, the electric company. And where this guy walked up onto us in the middle of the fog, in the middle of nowhere, is beyond me. But there it is, the electric company. I couldn't believe I found it, and that it's still there. Unbelievable. What do you think that guy was? To walk up and find us in the middle of nowhere in the fog and just walk up on our car like that. Have you seen my dog? What do you think he was?
You know what? When you told that story, there are other stories like that of non-human entities that take the form of a human, and kind of, coming out of the fog it's a pretty scary thing to see, especially if you're, sitting in your car late at night smoking what you were smoking.
Right.
But you should have stayed in your car, and you did.
Yep.
And just kind of drove away.
Which we did.
But that could have been, I would maybe even say, a spirit.
Yeah, I know. And looking back, this is what is scary. And you go back to the old Carlos Castaneda books and some of those references where if you encounter something like that, do not interact. Don't do it. Don't do it, and get out of there. And thankfully, that's exactly what we did. But I did roll down the window, man. I did roll down the window. That could have had a really bad ending. I mean, a really bad ending. But it really happened, man. It just like I described it. It just right out of the fog, man. Black figure, black. And I keep referring to him as an old man. And I mean, I think I saw his chin, but we were out there in the dark. I think I saw his chin. I didn't see his face. I didn't really look directly at him. It wasn't like I stuck my hand out the window and shook his hand. Hey man, how you doing? I didn't do any of that. But, and I cracked the window like maybe 4 inches. Yeah. And that was it, man.
Yeah, no, I would have jetted out of there very quickly.
Yeah. When we tell the story these days, we always say that he was an old man, but, wow. Yeah. Really happened. It freaks me out, thinking about it and looking back, but, to have all of us tough kids in the car screaming,
Now, it reminds me of Stephen King's The Mist.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Yes, yeah, or The Fog, right?
Yeah, The Fog. Yeah. Because you do know that when you start to see through the veil, or if the veil is thinning or you're shifting into another dimension, it's almost like this fog kind of enters the space.
Right.
And you don't want to get stuck on the other side of that fog.
No. And the other the other part, like I said, McLeister, I should almost text him and have him call in to the show. When we went back the next day, and we already pretty much knew, we've been out there so often, but when we went back the next day and just had a really good look at everything that, was around, there was nothing there. What was this dude walking around in the middle of nowhere like that? And Google Maps today, when you look at it, the subdivisions that are out there, but you can still see a big chunk of cornfields and stuff. But back then, I'm serious, man. There was nothing there all the way to the Ohio state line. All right, Greenfield, 40 miles away, another town. But back then there was nothing there, and that's why we went there, so we could be alone.
And if your headlights were off, how would he even see you through the fog?
No, you can't. You just wouldn't do it. But yeah, that's a true story. Every word, it actually happened. All right, my friend, what's going on in your world?
Well, I am very excited to announce that we're launching a movie called Into the Void, and it's all about the subjects that you're talking about, even the subject that you just shared with this potentially entity ghost story coming out of the fog. And what happened is that when I released the book Forbidden Knowledge, and this has been, a couple of years back, I released that book. And ever since I released that book, I've been getting hundreds of emails from people saying they had that experience. They've never told a soul about it. And they didn't even think it was real that they experienced it until they heard somebody else talking about it, like myself and other people you have on your show. And we realized that these experiences are a worldwide phenomenon. It's happening across gender, it's happening across religion, it's happening across race. We're all experiencing the paranormal or something outside of us. So this movie, which is a feature documentary that we're starting to film, we've already started back in March filming it. And we just released the trailer. In fact, it came as a surprise at ECETI. I don't know if you remember that night.
I do.
You were doing the, Cards Against Humanity, which
it shall never be mentioned again.
Which shall never. Yeah, that happened. That was pretty fantastic. But, we got the message right before you played that game, and I ran up to read it. I said, I just got the trailer for the new documentary. Can I put it on the big screen and show everybody before the game? And luckily, we got it up. We showed it to ECETI first to see what they would think of this trailer, and everybody absolutely loved it. And I will post a link actually on Twitter right now for everyone to see. But we were trying to bring people in from all over the world that have these similar experiences of outer body experiences, near-death experiences, contact experiences, paranormal experiences, awakening experiences, all the really crazy stuff that many people around the world experience. And we're getting them on film to not only tell the story, but we're doing like a Hollywood level CGI, and we're doing reenactments of the actual event that would take place in their story. So it's a really awesome way to bring this information into the public domain and have fun doing it. And we already have some amazing people involved in the film.
Now, hold on.
Ahead.
Let's do that in just a second.
Yeah.
Post up the link to the website and use the hashtag F2B, and I will do a retweet. So while I'm speaking right now, you post to Twitter. Oh, there it is. Got it
and
up.
That's the YouTube link for the trailer, and then here is the website.
Okay,
where you can get all the information.
Okay, get that going. I'm going to retweet this now. I went to the really nice website, and what I dig about the website, it's a fresh design. You're always forward thinking, and you do things the correct way. So the website is really, really cool. The trailer, I'm going to play the trailer here in a second, and we'll catch the audio part of it for everybody. But it's really cool. So I'm going to get that going too as well. And the website is intothevoid.movie, not M-O-V, but M-O-V-I-E, intothevoid.movie. And it's really cool. So I've got, there you go. Thank you, Jason. And I am going to, I watched the trailer again today, and I'm going to play it. I know that it's visually captivating, but there's some cool audio too as well. So I am going to just play the trailer just because. Here it is right here. Oh, let me do a quick restart.
It's hard to explain. Being out of my body feels more real than life itself.
Death doesn't exist. It's just altered states of consciousness.
In true science, we cannot say it's impossible. There's always a possibility. Always.
So cool, man. I so want to do voiceover on that trailer. He's back into the void, the movie. So anyway, congratulations. The website is gorgeous, and it's Into the Void movie, intothevoid.movie. Everybody go and check it out. And it's all official. This film is not yet rated. Okay, so who's behind the scenes here? Who's the team?
The team is myself, a gentleman by the name of Eric Bishop, who is a filmmaker. He's currently residing in Japan. And this is where I met him and his soon-to-be wife, Christine Pelk, who is also a lifetime experiencer, just like myself. And we share very, very similar stories. And that's how I connected with her. And, you know, I follow universal synchronicity. That's my entire life. And when I spend about 3 months a year in Japan, and in the area that I stay, I would walk around by myself because I don't know anybody there. And I would go to a restaurant and there would be some dude sitting, at a table across from me, and he'd be American. And you'd always be wearing like these band shirts that I know the bands of.
Rush.
I keep walking by this guy on the street.
Right.
And so we keep bumping into each other. And then we all go out for dinner to discuss the book Forbidden Knowledge. And this lady, Christine, came out with a bunch of friends, and she brought her boyfriend, Eric, at the time. And I'm like, I've been seeing this guy everywhere.
Oh, how trippy is that? Yeah, okay.
So this is how I met them. And once we started talking about this, it turns out that, he's a filmmaker and they're looking for projects, and they've both read my book and they really enjoyed all the stories and experiences. And Christine has actually experienced a lot of what I talk about in the book. So Eric actually, and he'll come on the show maybe another time, but he has a UFO experience and an alien visitation experience. And that's what really got him interested in this subject. And he wants to focus his filming, especially in this documentary, so that we can bring light to all these experiences and all these extra dimensional and paranormal things that are happening to everyday people.
How is the trailer is excellent, right? But how are you and Eric and Christine going to make this different from anything else that has been done on the subject?
Well, first of all, we're keeping it in the family. Like, we really are. So we are all experiencers. We all talk the same language, and we have the skill set. So Eric, he's been doing like Hollywood level filming for many years now. Christine has been writing screenplays for many years now. And we're all very creative. And right now we're even working with a couple CGI people at the Hollywood level to put this project together. And how is it going to be different is we're not holding back anything. It seems like a lot of these documentaries really hold back on these experiences and the opinions. And what we're trying to do is push the envelope of what consciousness is. We're trying to push the envelope to what level these experiences can get to without us being called lunatics, really. So we're really pushing the boundaries of what our reality and consciousness could be, because we really believe that we haven't even scratched the surface of what our reality could be, and we're just starting to awaken to that process of rediscovering our true reality, and it's a very exciting time.
The documentaries that have been done on this in the past, and I've commented on this a lot, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but I think they were done. I look at it's almost innocent. We didn't know what we know today in the 1980s or the 1990s. We have science behind us. We have more and more experience, and combining all of this today, we know an awful lot today and that we can refer to. You go back and you look at the old documentaries, even 5-10 years ago, but it's especially stretching back, Jason, that it's almost funny to me to watch because it was such an innocent way to view things. They didn't really know what was going on. They were trying to share their experience and were wondering what was happening to them, but it just doesn't have the foundation that we have today. And if we really jump into it with the knowledge that we have today, it's a whole nother thing. Even me doing this show, I know how much this show has changed in 5 years.
Yeah, and the thing that I've discovered from traveling the world is that all these cultures that are not North American, they believe in this stuff. They talk about it openly. It's part of their culture. So it's not like a taboo subject to talk about these things in other cultures. But over here in Canada and the US, it seems like it's very difficult to express these experiences or knowledge to people. So it's almost like we're trying to bring this knowledge back that's always been there and put a new spin on it. I don't want to say a new spin, but give fresh voices that this is not just happening to one or two people. This is happening to many people around the world. And we've already interviewed many people, and there's more people to come. But we are shocked. Especially there's, some, I don't want to say this, give out too many names, but there's like rock stars, there's celebrities, there's people that want to back this project and tell their personal stories that they haven't told a soul about. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know, it feels like it's time for all of us to share, because once we start sharing these things we keep within us, that's the first step of healing. And I think that's the first step of shifting our awareness as a community, is to be open and share our true experiences of whatever is out there. And it's definitely mind expanding.
What do you think about some of the actors and musicians that have started to come forward today before, let's just be straight. They didn't want to have their career messed with. They didn't want to, but today it's not the taboo thing that it used to be. And so they are able to come forward and aren't afraid of some crazy backlash from the public and being labeled a certain way.
It's very, very freeing. And I think that's what they're feeling. And Like, for example, I was in Tokyo with Eric and Christine, and we were having dinner with a couple pro wrestlers because that's also part of their family business. And we're sitting with one of the most famous wrestlers in all of Mexico. His name is Dos Caras Jr., the son of the original Dos Caras, the masked wrestlers in Mexico. And I was just talking openly at the table, and I said, yeah, we're doing this movie, and, I've had this experience of sleep paralysis and the shadow figure, standing in the edge of my bed. This guy's jaw, dropped. And he was like, I've never heard anybody say that, because that's exactly what happened to me, and I haven't told a soul, and let me tell you my story of what happened to me. And it's like an instant connection with someone who's had the same experience, but they keep it bottled in. They don't tell anybody because obviously fear of ridicule. But, when you start to talk openly about this and you realize there's so many people that share these same experiences, these celebrities or just normal people, they want to come out and they want to share it. They want to go on social media. And even on intothevoid.movie website, we have a discussion group. And you can actually submit your experiences and stories because, if we look over a really unique story, we may want to put it in the movie and feature that story.
Well, I'm looking at him here, Dos Caras Jr., and he is a huge, huge name in pro wrestling, but he's a big, intimidating guy, right?
Yeah.
What was it like to sit with him and have him open up emotionally?
It was amazing. It gave me so many chills because him and his family had so many stories of really paranormal things where him and his brother even experienced something together. So it was a dual experience, which he does share in the documentary. So, it's amazing that these people could open up and share their experience. And yeah, he's a big guy.
He's a big dude. He's a big dude, man. I'm looking at him here. He's big.
He. We all went. I think the last show we talked about the Korn concert.
Yes.
We went with him at the Korn concert, and yeah, he was just. That was fun.
He's a big guy. I want one of his masks. You need to talk him out of that.
Oh, that can be done very easily.
Man,
actually.
I want it signed. I'm going to put it in the bunker. But yeah, he's a big dude. Yeah, so I mean, when he's opening up and talking about these experiences, I think that says a lot to not only his fans but the world, where this is somebody, just another segment of our society and pop culture that has had these experiences and now is willing to come forward and talk about it.
Exactly. And we even have Dr. Yasu Nomoto, who is a physicist who works at the Emoto Water Foundation in Japan, who is a real scientist. And you heard his voice in the trailer.
Yes.
Talking about how nothing is impossible in science. And he himself also has these consciousness experiences and is very interested in the subject. And he has a very scientific point of view of how this happens. And it's amazing that we can get the pro wrestler having these experiences and then getting a scientist talking about the same things. So this goes across the board of experience, and we're all trying to figure it out. We're all trying to go down that road of understanding. And that is why we're doing this documentary. It's really a labor of love. We're doing this ourselves. This is with our own resources, and we want to give this to the world. We want to share these stories, and we want to do it at that level that people will look at it. So we're going to do it right the first time. And, we are seeking support from people that want to help the project move forward. And they could also find out how on intothevoid.movie as well.
Yeah, we'll do all of that and talk more about it and open up these phone lines. Intothevoid.movie. That's the website. We got the links up there on Twitter and jimmychurchradio.com. More with Jason Quitt, and your phone calls are next. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hi, folks. What can I say without making claims? CBD is truly the buzzword for health. What does it do? Government institutions will not allow me to say what this wonderful oil does for us. But I can say it's non-GMO and organic. I can say it's 0.003 THC, which in plain English means you won't get high. There are those that want to squash your freedom to buy natural products. Fight back with your purchase power. In the end, it is you that takes care of your health. Go to ancientlifeoil.com. One more time, ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Got Jason Quitt here. I'm tweeting. See, you gotta love live radio because I'm tweeting live on the air. We've got Jason Quitt with us. Jason, let's take some phone calls now. 323-825-5045. That will be the phone line that we're going to use tonight. And I see that calls are coming in on the other phone lines. We're not going to use those. Just one phone line, 323-825-5045. I've tweeted it out enough, everybody. It's right there, 323-825-5045. You ready to take some calls?
Absolutely.
Let's go. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're up first. Who's calling? You're live.
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, Jimmy. My name's Will from Texas.
Hey, Will from Texas.
I was listening the other day at when you were talking with Alan Green, and you mentioned that he talked about Shakespeare talking about Oak Island. And I just kind of wanted to share this with all the Fadernauts. You had Brett Stewart, a remote viewer, back a while ago. He has a YouTube channel called Technical Intuition, and he reveals that they remote viewed Oak Island, and y'all can go there and watch the video of the results. But the object that he remote viewed kind of sounds like it's part of the pyramids. The pyramids was some kind of energy device. What he saw on Oak Island, the sphere that's buried there, was used as some kind of energy collector. And I don't know, I just kind of wanted to put this out there for everybody, and maybe some more pieces to the puzzle can be put together.
Well, I thank you for that. And if I remember on that show, we didn't bring up Oak Island. I brought up Oak Island after Alan left, and I kind of regretted that. I wanted to go back and get to it because of all of my research in Oak Island over the years. The one thing that came up was Francis Drake and Bacon and Shakespeare, and that could be what was deposited there. So, but I didn't get around to it. I'm going to have Alan on Coast to Coast next month, and I'll bring it up then.
Okay, but yeah, like I said, Technical Intuition's Brett's channel, and he has a lot of stuff that he remote viewed that he has on his videos, and they're very eye-opening on the results. And like I said, it just, when you said that, something clicked.
Right.
And I was like, I remembered that, and I don't know, I just wanted to share.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. What was your name again?
My name's Will Phillips.
Thank you, Will. Will from Texas, and first-time caller. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy. All right, you have a good night.
Yeah, you too, Will. Did you, Jason, you're a busy guy. Did you listen to the show the other night with Alan Green?
I didn't have a chance, but you brought up a very interesting thing about those spheres. Because those spheres are found everywhere across the planet, even in Antarctica and in Russia. They're everywhere, these spheres.
Well, and okay, no, the show was about Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And now, okay, I want to hear your connection between those two things.
Okay, because he said that there was some remote viewer that said there was a sphere buried there that had something to do with the pyramids.
Yes.
And but there are spheres virtually on every continent. They're everywhere, and it's a big enigma. And he's absolutely right. What they were supposed to do was they were amplifiers and collectors of energy that were placed on different meridian points of the Earth, like the ley lines. And what it did was it held the field that the pyramids would broadcast. And this is very, very ancient. I would say this is pre-flood era. And now they have these huge sphere stones found everywhere, and they still don't know how they cut them. There's even some examples in Russia where it looks like they're being melted right out of the granite walls. So it's pretty crazy and a really amazing mystery that we need to delve into a little more.
Yeah, the spheres, the stone spheres throughout Central and South America are nuts, 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 and to even contemplate or think or postulate that those are natural, no. You can take that right off the list. But what they are. And if there's one buried at Oak Island, that now, and there's the other part that I find interesting is Shakespeare. I don't even think that's his real name, right? Or whoever, that's a pen name, and then you can flip it, and you have Spear Shake or Spear Shaker. There's some other stuff to this too as well that Alan was talking about the other night. That's you need to go and watch that show. Go to his website, tobeornottobe.org, and look at his research that he has done, and the cover page of the Sonnets, and watch his video breakdown of that. Man, that's a crazy mystery right there. Let's go back to the phones. Area code 414. You're up next on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live.
Brian Bosley.
This is who?
Brian Bosley from West Dallas.
Hi. Oh, wow. Second call from Texas tonight. How are you?
Hello.
You're live on the air right now.
Yes. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing good. What's on your mind? Say hi to Jason.
Hi, Jason.
You need to
Good to hear from you.
Yeah, you need to speak up, though, or unless you're on speakerphone. Okay. We can barely hear you.
No. Okay, I'm not on speakerphone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong alien abductee. I've been in the military, and I think I figured it out.
You figured it out. Okay, what'd you figure out?
Yes, I have.
What'd you figure out, Mr. Bosley?
All these clues about why we're here on Earth.
Okay.
I think that we are here. The AI, artificial intelligence, is brought us back from the planet that exploded 3 planets out.
Okay, 3 planets out into the asteroid belt.
Yes, exactly. And we are here because they are trying to bring us back to the glory we once used to be. And
Okay, well, let me actually jump in. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Sure. You said that you're a lifelong abductee.
Yes, I am.
How old were you when you were first abducted?
I believe since I was born.
Since you were born. Okay, how about the first time that you remember?
I remember when a little kid, I seen a alien craft in the neighbor's yard, and it was like shedding light. It was like a melted thing, and he died when he was 18 years old. So I don't know what that's got to do with anything, but I got a message for humanity that there's going to be a judgment day, like your buddy Carson. I can't remember his first name.
Billy.
Billy, yes. And he's on the right track. And there's going to be a judgment day, and there has been for a long time. And that's why there's all these underground places. Like, they take certain people, they put them underground, and then they wipe out the world. And this is a message.
Okay, well, so, and I want to thank you for the phone call, Mr. Bosley, and for you to, call in and share this with us is a big deal. And you're welcome to call in anytime. But what I find interesting is that the judgment part of it, is this what religions have been referring to for all of these years?
Yes, it has been. Good. You need to be a good person like you.
Well,
you're an awesome person. I love you.
Yeah, thank you so much, William. And was it William? What was your first name?
No, Brian. Brian Lee.
Okay, thank you so much. And be safe out there. Second phone. Did this happen in Texas, by the way?
No, this is Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay. Thank you for the phone call. I want to hear what everybody else has to say about this tonight. Very, very interesting. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Gabriel.
Hey, Gabriel. How are you? Say hi to Jason.
Good. Hello, Jason. How are you doing?
Hey, Gabe. I'm good. I think I know exactly what you're going to say, too.
Oh, you do?
All right, I'm ready. So I got ghosts because it's the night, so I figured I'd bring it. So a longtime friend of mine since childhood, her mom was actually one of the people that when I first met my childhood friend was in kind of a strange moment because we lived in an apartment complex and I was digging into the ground and we found this huge thick cable in the ground and I had cut into it with a butter knife. And when I finally got through the metal or through the plastic sheathing, I hit that cord and I don't remember much after that. All I remember is her mom standing over me, like what I can only assume was like, giving me pumping on my chest because I had been shocked so strongly. So that's when I met her, but she passed away from multiple sclerosis, this year, about 3 months back. And I went over to her house most of my life. I mean, every weekend for a long time. And she was a really, really good lady and I loved her a lot. And when she passed away, it hurt. And, she told me, we used to joke about it. And, we always said if one of us passed away, we had to, haunt the other because it was like, the thing, we had to do it because, we're kind of dark. And one time we were listening to Typo Negative and, it just kind of came up, about death and stuff because, Typo's kind of dark. And so it just came up that way. But after the funeral, we came home and it was maybe a couple days later and I was standing in the kitchen, I'm doing dishes. And I'm just kind of sitting there washing them because we don't have a dishwasher, so I'm hand washing them. And I'm washing them. And I hear something out of the back of, from behind me. And it's almost like somebody trying to scream mutedly, like they're trying to scream to their mouth closed. And then all of a sudden it just like this deafening, like, Gabe. And I'm like, and I turn around and my wife's not there. My kids are not there. It's just me. And I'm like, what the hell was that? Excuse me. And I like turn back around to do the dishes. And then all of a sudden I hear, did you hear me? And I hear her laugh. And I look around, I'm like, Michelle? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, whoa. And every hair on my hair is standing up right now. I feel like she's like right here laughing at me. And my hair's standing up. And I'm tingling, and I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, are you really here? And for the next couple days, like, just weird stuff would happen. Like, things would just, like, fall off my table. And I figured, I must have bumped it. And I look over, and it's something that was really heavy that shouldn't have fallen over. And I'm just, like, I keep feeling her presence, like, looking at me. And I start to go through old things, like, we used to play D&D together. So I'm looking through my old D&D books and remembering her. And I usually don't go through that stuff because we don't, get to do, old dice gaming anymore. But it's like, it's one of those things where, that's that experience that I think if a lot of people had it, then they'd really, they would believe in, that it's not just, it doesn't just end. There's no just, the lights go out and it's dark. The people are still here and they choose where to go. And she's not with her daughter, which, they had kind of an estranged relationship. But with me, she always wanted me to be her son. And I just always felt like she came to be with me and to just, mess with me. And while I'm sitting up late at night playing video games and just turn the TV off. And I'm like, what's going on? And I think my TV's broke, but then I push the button and it turns back on. And I can just hear that cackling laugh because she was an old, a big lady that had just that cackle, that ha 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 ha. And I just hear it in the like out of the back of my ear. It's not like really loud audible. It's just like in the back distance. And it's like, it's so comforting because I know that she's there and she's with me and she's peaceful now because, the MS really took a toll on her in like 2.5 years.
Well,
and it took her life.
I can seal the deal for you right now. You'll know it's real if after this show she comes up and goes, have you seen my dog? And then... and then and then you'll be able to call back in and go, church, man, wow, yeah, she said it. Have you seen my dog? Thank you, Gabriel. Behave and be well, my friend.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jason. I can't wait to see the movie.
Yeah, man, the movie's going to be great. Thank you so much, Gabe. And it goes without saying that when you have made a connection to the other side like that, it never goes away, right? And so she's listening to Gabriel call into the show, and now she just heard that, and now the next thing you know, coming in from behind his ear. Have you seen my dog? And then, at that point, right? I'm just saying, I'm not trying to make light of an amazing story, but think about it. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Rachel in Santa Fe.
Hi, Rachel in Santa Fe. Say hi to Jason.
Hey, I was just hoping Jason would listen to this story and kind of give me some clarity. I believe, gentlemen, that I encountered someone who wasn't possibly human who propositioned me.
Let's hear it. Rachel. Yeah, let's go.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm a person of faith. I'm in a long line of curanderas. We're just good witches. And so I got a little bit of mojo about me. After work, talking with some friends, and I had been in a wreck and had a head injury and was on some medication that was making me sick. All the friends are saying, what are we doing on Friday? They all drive away. One of the guys that works with me pulls up and says, wait, guys, wait. Somebody here has a problem with liver, kidneys, medication, some kind of complication, and all my friends point at me. They go, it's Rachel. So suffice it to say, they all prayed with me. And then the guy, Dave, said, Rach, I just want you to know that when God does something really awesome, sometimes something evil tries to mess with you. Just keep your guard up. Yeah, thanks, Dave. Bye. Go home, going into a big supermarket, and there's a man standing out front, and he has a dog. And the guy looked like straight out of Underworld, leather and rings and tats on his hand. And the reason I know that is because he had this little dog. And I said, oh, your dog is really cute, but he needs a haircut so I can see his other eye. And the guy goes, he's only got one eye. And I go, oh, gee, I'm sorry. I felt bad. And he says, yeah, I adopted him. He tells me the story how he adopted him. I go in the store, and I come out, get in my car, and all of a sudden, guy's walking towards me, and I'm like, oh, man, he's going to ask for money. I figure, I've got a really nice car. He's going to ask for money. I roll down the window like an idiot, and he puts both hands, like I'm shaking just telling you about it. He puts both hands on the door of my car with the windows down, and he says, I know you're going home to nothing but cats, and I want to know if you want to. And I went, and he said the word, and I went, what? Now, I'm not trying to be down on myself. Just let me tell you, I'm somebody's grandma. I'm not a calendar beauty. I'm just a happy woman who's a former academic who raised 3 incredible kids. Happy woman. But this guy is telling me I'm going home to nothing but cats. And I said, no. I've got a friend coming over. Don't call him. He can't help you. I can give you something that no one can give you. And I'm like, dude, you know what? This is not funny. You just try to pick up people's grannies. Do you think that's funny? I don't think that's funny, hitting on old Grammys.
Right.
That's not cool. And he's laughing at me, Jimmy. He's laughing at me, Jason. And he says, what I can do for you will change your life. You'll never be the same. And I'm like, dude, okay, so I'm panicking. My heart is beating. My temples are throbbing. I'm like, what do I do? All I need to do was just inside my head, I said, in the name of God and all things good, back away from my blankety-blank car. But I didn't say it out loud. The guy took his hands off my car like my car was 100 degrees. He just backed up. And then he unzipped his coat a little bit, and he petted the cat that was inside the dog that was inside his jacket, and he goes, all right then, go home to your cats. Go. And I'm just like, okay, so I back out. The 2 blocks to my house were the longest 2 blocks of my life. I get in the house. I called the buddy that I lied and said I was going to call. And he said, Rach, I got to tell you something. And I said, oh, no, here it goes. My friend, he does the bar scene. He and his fiance, and they're 30-somethings, and I'm a 60-something. And I'm like, it's not my scene. But he said, I got to tell you, there's some people that are in the neighborhood here, and they go around and they hit on people, but not just normal people. One of my friends does the tarot. She does the Ouija. She's kind of a witch. She's really awesome. And then this other person, and he's telling me about a movement, I guess, in this part of California, where there are these people or entities that are going along. You know what he calls them? He called them soul stealers.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And now, listen, we're going to, Rachel, we're going to be up against a commercial break. I want to get Jason's reaction to that with you on the line.
I would love it.
But,
are you kidding? I would love it.
But that's exactly what I was referring to earlier. You know,
that's why I called in.
Yeah.
And then when you said, "Dude, where's my dog?" I went, this guy's familiar. This is just familiar.
Yes,
this is
totally.
How he lures in women.
Totally. Jason, what do you think she encountered?
You know, there are entities and beings out there that have, I would say, attachments to very powerful beings, and like you said, soul suckers.
Can I tell you something, Jason, really quick? I just need to tell you this. He had rings on all of his fingers, and they had runes, different runes.
Wow.
And when I looked up into his eyes, he had no pupils.
What?
Okay. So continue. No, guys, he had no pupils. His eyes were black.
Okay, Jason, we've got about 2 minutes.
I'll just say that there are
Jason,
beings that have been.
I just had to tell you what he looked like.
It's almost like the body snatchers, where it's just the vessel is being used by another type of entity, and what they do is they promise you amazing gifts and new life in exchange for something of yours, and once you do that, they can also start to take over your mind and body as well.
That's
So my friend told me, that this one girl that he encountered at does the tarot and all that, she was awesome. He saw her recently, and he said that she walks around like in a fog. She talks to herself. She stopped taking a bath. She's an absolute mess.
Walk in.
Is that what they do? They render people stupid or hollow or something.
Right. You've got to be careful. And like I said, and Rachel, thank you for sharing that with us. And there was a reason why you tuned in tonight to hear me tell my story. Think about that, right? There's always a reason.
I know.
That the universe.
Synchronicity, my brother. Cosmic confirmation. By the way, you guys rock, both of you.
Thank you so much, Grandma Rachel.
Thanks again. Yes.
Thank you.
Brother.
I'll talk to you. I firmly believe this, Jason, that we dodged a bullet that night. We dodged a bullet. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt, FADERNIGHT, taking your phone calls all night long. More of your phone calls are next. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at GetTheTea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at GetTheTea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It's Fader Night, Thursday night. Open lines all night long. We have Jason Quitt in here helping me answer the phones. 323-825-5045. I've shut down the other two phone lines tonight so we could just focus on one phone line, and I've got Jason here. Jason, you ready to continue this madness?
Love it. These stories are amazing.
Yeah, it's great, man. That's Thursday night, man. I'm able to just sit and talk to the audience. It's the best night of the week. Let's go to area code 505. You're up next on Fade to Black. Say hi to Jason Quitt. Who's calling?
Hey, this is Jared from Albuquerque. Hi, Jason. Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, Jared from Albuquerque.
I had a pretty good story. I figured this was a good night to call in. Last time I talked to you, I said I'd tell you my daytime ghost sighting, and I figured this would be a good show for it.
Why not? Let's go. Jason, you want to hear a good daytime ghost story?
I need to hear it.
I need to hear it. All right, let's go. What do you got?
Okay, so I was living in Arizona at the time, and it was a college dormitory. Like, I lived on campus, but on the corner, off campus, on the corner of this intersection, there was it was like a gas station with a Long John Silver's built into it.
Love Long John Silver's.
Yeah. It's pretty good food. I love that. Yeah.
Hush
they
puppies.
Had their hush puppies are great. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, man. You start talking about food,
you're fine,
man.
Yeah.
Long John Silver's. Okay, anyway, go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, so this was a really small town, but they did have a college in the camp, in the town. So that was a really popular place to go. And so I was going over there with my skateboard, and when I got into the parking lot, I hopped on my skateboard and was going down towards the entrance of the shop. And I look to my right, and I see this guy. He's standing in the back of this truck, like in the bed of the truck. And the truck was kind of an old beat-up truck. And I remember noticing the guy, he looked kind of out of place. Like he looked like he was from a different decade. He looked like he was he looked really tan, and his hair was kind of raggedy, and he was wearing like some pretty, weathered jeans and that kind of thing. He looked like he was from a different time, but he could have just fit in just normally, in everyday life, He looked like something like from the late 70s or early 80s, or, I don't know. But so that kind of struck my mind when I first saw him. I was like, whoa, that's kind of weird. But he looked just normal, just plain as day. The truck was plain as day. Everything looked just normal. And he says to me, he's like, oh, hey, can you do a trick? And so I said, well, all right, yeah, I can do a trick. So I turn around and I skate away from him for about 10 seconds, maybe less, to give myself enough time to come back towards him on the skateboard to do a trick. And then, so I get to the end of where I'm going to turn around and face him so I can show him the trick, and I turn around and he's gone. The truck is gone. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, what? Because there's no way he had time to get into that truck and drive off, or maybe if someone else was in the front of the truck, to drive off. So I'm looking at the streets of all the exits of the parking lot and the streets for that truck, and I don't see a thing. And there's this gas attendant working at the pumps. He's changing the trashes on the pumps. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, did you see a guy on that truck just now just like drive off? And he's like, no. And so to this day, I have no idea what happened there, because the guy looked, like I said, he looked a little out of place, like from a different era.
Time travel.
And
yeah,
or like one of those portal stories that you hear about. Yeah, with like a time slip.
Jason, what do you think about that? And stay right there, Jared.
Yeah.
But a few years ago, I'm going to go back. Well, it doesn't matter. A few years ago, I had a caller that told a very similar story. It was at a gas station. There was a van, and it was a whole time travel situation. But the similarities kind of freak me out a little bit. What do you think about that, Jason? Time traveler?
It does sound kind of like a time slip, like you said. And I've heard stories like this before where you can be present in the moment here right now, and you could be looking out into a field and see, let's say, like a cornfield. And then you come back the next day and you look at that cornfield and there's a bunch of houses that are there.
Right.
And you're thinking, like, how is this possible? Like, there was a field there earlier and now there's a bunch of houses. But really, like, for some reason, you've seen through the veil and you can see through time. And it seems to me that this happens a lot, actually, to people, where they can actually see an event that has taken place or even interact with people or places through time, just in a very short amount of time. And you can have these experiences. I've heard a lot of stories like this.
Jared, in the end, what did you think happened?
Well, when it first happened to me, I thought it was a ghost. But then later on, I've heard a lot of similar stories of like a time slip type of thing. And looking back on it, that makes a lot of sense. Because, like I said, when I first saw him, he stood out of my mind. It kind of struck me as like, whoa, he looks a little out of place. And it wasn't like something. It wasn't like he was wearing like a colonial vest or something. You know, he was. It was a fairly modern pickup truck that he was in, but it was real old and beat up. And it was, if it, you know, it wasn't completely out of place, but it wasn't a new truck. You know?
Right.
But then the way he looked like somebody from the late 70s. Like he looked like a person, just the way, and there was nothing real striking about him that really said, you know, that he was from a different time era. But I just got that vibe from it, and it was really apparent based on kind of the way he looked, to me at least, that he seemed out of place, you know. And like I said, he was just wearing like a pretty normal outfit, just like tattered jeans, like a T-shirt and kind of ratty hair, and he was really tan. I remember that. He looked like he'd been out in the sun a lot, which isn't uncommon for that town in Arizona. But there's no way that truck could have driven out of that parking lot and onto the street, and in the time that it took for me to turn around and face him again.
Wow!
And he was just gone, and the truck was gone.
Jared, great story, man. Great story. Love it when that happens.
Yeah, it was amazing. I wish there was someone else with me to see that, or I wish the gas attendant had saw it too, but.
I know, right? All right.
Yeah.
Jared, thank you so much, my friend.
All right, yeah, thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you. And nothing like first-time callers, man. I love it when it goes down. And Jason, it reminds me of my own personal experience that I had back in Indianapolis, in the same area from the electric company. But it was my disappearing house story. And I was alone when I saw this house. I'm not going to go through the whole story. Driving down the road, and I see this house and pulled over and checked it out. It was for rent. And I thought, wow, and it was in this chunk of woods off the side of the road. And I got excited, and actually McLeister, the same guy I was talking about earlier, went and grabbed him and a couple of my friends. I said, man, this house is for rent, and it's got a pool, so let's rent it and throw parties all summer long, and I got to show it to you guys. Let's go check it out. And then we drove back, and the house wasn't there. It's not there. And we drove up and down, and they were looking at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, guys, no. And I thought that we would continue driving, and then the house would be there, and it would be cool. And, we never, the house just was gone.
That's amazing. And, it reminds me of a story that I shouldn't be telling, but I am going to tell. I won't say his name, but thank you for this story. He's a really great guy, but he has the best ghost stories in the world. And what he was saying was that, one night he's driving with some friends down the street, and he sees this like really ancient graveyard. And he's like, I've never seen this graveyard before. I've never noticed it. So they kind of stop the car and get out and look at this graveyard. He says it's like really archaic, and it's old stones falling over. And, it's just like a surreal scene that they never noticed before. They don't think much of it. They get back in their car, they drive, and then on the way back, they pass it again, and they look, and there's a high-rise building in that same place.
What?
Yeah, it's like they saw through time.
Right. I want to get back to the phones, but there was another, one of my favorite phone calls about 5 years ago. And whoever called in, you need to, if you're listening, call in again and recount the story. But on vacation somewhere out west, I want to say like, Arizona, Grand Canyon area, out in the desert. And the family pulls up, and they went to this historic, it was like a picnic area, but there was and if I mess up the story, but anyway, there was like a sign, a plaque. And so she goes up and she's looking at the plaque. She's reading the plaque. There's a river in front of her, and she's looking across the river, and she sees a reenactment going on. Covered wagons, campfire, horses, people, cooking, that kind of thing. And it's this reenactment. And she goes back and reads this plaque. This was the site of blah, 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 blah. And she's looking across the river, and she's like, wow, this is so cool. They're doing this reenactment and this historic site. She goes back to grab her husband and family to bring them back so they could check out this cool reenactment that's going on right across the river. And she's looking, she could smell it, right? And so when she comes back with her family, gone. covered wagons gone. The campfire's gone. And that's it. There's the story. So what did she see? Oh man, it's just, I love it when it happens. Let's go back to the phones. Area code 970. You're up next on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Yo, dudes, what's up?
Who's this? Are you there? All right, let's go to the next call. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, this is Wendy in Pennsylvania.
Hi, Wendy in Pennsylvania. How are you? Say hi to Jason.
Good. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Wendy.
Great to hear you. Great show.
Yeah, it's always fun. What's on your mind tonight, Wendy?
Well, I'm calling with kind of a question on a theory, I think. We talk about portals all the time and how energies can come in and out of this world. And so we've got sacred sites that are kind of imbued with positive energy. And you would assume that that's the kind of energy that's in that area. And then there are experiences that you have, like I go down to Gettysburg a lot. And there are places there where on certain nights you walk into an area and all of a sudden it's blacker than black. I mean, you can't see a thing. It's, flashlights won't penetrate it or anything else. And it makes me wonder if, there isn't something to all these wars that are in some way maybe deliberate to open negative portals.
Continue.
Well, I when I had that experience in Gettysburg the last time, it was so intense, and there were other people with me.
Right.
When I was by myself and it happened, I turned around and got the HE double toothpicks out of there.
Right.
But with other people, we've occasionally ventured into it, and it makes me think of the David Paulides stuff. It's like, is this what's happening? Is there some kind of because something was different. I mean, it was a blackness that pressed against your eyes. You knew something was happening. And almost every time that would happen, there would be an animal there, like at the entrance to where we were going to go into the field. One time, as strange as it sounds, there was a huge bullfrog sitting right in the middle of the path. And everybody was kind of looking at it like, he won't move. Like, he would not move. We were trying to move him with our foot.
Right.
And it's kind of unusual to see a bullfrog at night. One time we went down there and there were owls there, just carrying on like crazy. I mean, I think it was a nesting site, but it just always seemed like there was almost like some kind of a warning. You know what I mean?
I do. Jason, what do you think?
And it's a national park. So,
Jason?
There are areas on the planet that give positive energy, life-giving energies, and there are areas on the planet that take life force energy. So we have to be very aware of these places. There's certain places on the planet where you shouldn't build homes because when people start living there, they will experience misfortune, basically. And this is very known in the ancient world, not to build on certain sites because it will just bring death and destruction. There's also a very ancient saying that, when the land has seen enough blood, it starts to crave it. So you'll have certain areas that have memories in there that will continue this kind of recycled pattern. If some bad thing happened on that land, it could continue happening generation after generation. So
can that be done deliberately, Jason?
Of course, it can be done deliberately. So if there's a place where there's always bloodshed and war, it's almost like feeding that entity that's been created there through the memories of the trauma. And it will continue to be very violent and draw that life energy to it unless things change and people clear the land, which could be a very long process and very hard process to do. But, you hear stories from all over the world, even in Japan, where they have the the forest where people go and commit suicide is that you don't want to go anywhere near that forest because it will just draw you in. Like there's really bad energy there.
I've seen that movie, but there's Wendy. Back to your point though, and think about this, Jason. England. Why would you ever build a house anywhere in England? Right, anywhere. Anywhere, for 3,000 years, England has been the craziest battlefield of, and of think about, and so you go and you buy a piece of farmland, and look, and you're, somewhere out in the middle of it, and just look across that piece of land you just bought. Some crazy battles went down there. Arms being cut off, heads, legs, bodies strewn all over the place. And I've thought about that so many times. If you ever want to go out with a metal detector, go to England, right? Or and you think about most of Europe but back to Jason's point where blood has been spilled into the dirt. Over and over and over again. And that's the one thing I've often thought about. You know why there's so many haunted castles and haunted places in England? Well, think about what has gone on there, and it may be a beautiful place. And I get all of that. And I love, I do appreciate it. But when you hear about, swords or helmets or jewelry or money that has been found in somebody's property over in England, and think about the battle that went down there. Think about that. All over the entire island.
I've studied shamanism for a good part of my life, and to my mind, one of the things that I really love when we're on Stellar and we're on the discussions and Facebook and things like that is when you hear, especially the young people talking about doing really positive things on the earth and getting together for really positive ceremonies, because sacred space is a real thing. I mean, I think it's a real thing. The energy that you're putting into the earth is significant, and I love to hear that people are doing those kinds of things because wars are so huge, and I happen to think that they're probably deliberately targeted to, if you want allies, in the old ancient times, the old stories talked about the forest allies. Well, there's all kinds of allies out there, and some of them aren't positive. So if you're trying to create portals, I would think that negative people would use negative portals to bring in negative allies.
Yeah, everybody in England is tweeting now. Church, hey, I'm just saying, the last place I'm going to build a house is at Baden Hill, right? Or whatever we've heard. And, but yeah, that's where you want to go with the metal detector. But, even when the movie Poltergeist, when it came out, now, okay, I'm not talking about Hollywood. I'm not talking about anything. But the idea behind the movie, who would build a house on an Indian burial ground?
It happens all the time.
I know. You're asking for trouble. The disappearing house story, Wendy, that I just told, there was. I left one thing out that I've mentioned before. When I went up and looked in the windows of the house, it was a little tiny house, but I looked off to my left. And it was, there was trees or some woods there, but right next to the driveway was a little family cemetery, and my memory says like 8 gravestones, and it had a little fence around it, but there was like 8 gravestones, and the house was so cool. I'm 20 years old, right? I'm 19, 20 years old. And this is what went through my mind at that moment. House is cool. In-ground pool. Cool parties. I could ignore the grave. I could ignore the family plot.
Well, you're in good company because Marilyn Manson tells a very similar story of something that happened to him.
Oh, really?
In Ohio. Oh yeah, back in Ohio when he was a teenager in high school.
Yeah, he lived.
You'll have to look it up. It's on YouTube somewhere.
He lived on a little island. This is some kind of, a friend of mine went to school with him, and we used to play Dungeons and Dragons with him. Gabriel mentioned that earlier.
In Canton. In Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, that's what my memory says.
Interesting.
Yeah, something like a small community, small school, small situation. I could be wrong. Look, I've had a long, difficult life that things cloud my memory. But there you go. Wendy, thank you so much. I got a break for a commercial.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Bye.
You're welcome.
And look, everybody out there freaking out over in the UK. I love the UK, but the UK knows exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly, man. It the historical moments that have occurred in England all over the place. Just like people want to bring up Gettysburg here, Jason. And the ghosts that are out there, there are historical sites around this country where some very crazy, violent things went down. Some battles were fought. And there's got to be some kind of residual, lonely ghost and things that are still hanging out there. They may not even know that they're dead.
Could be like Groundhog Day for them. It's like a VHS tape replaying itself. It's just like a magnetic memory placed into the land.
Oh, that is funny. The Groundhog's Day version at the Battle of Baden Hill, right?
That would be terrible.
Oh, man. And whenever I hear EVPs, and I'll get back to the phone calls, and if you're on hold, stay right there. I'm gonna get to everybody. When I hear some of those EVPs, like Huff Paranormal and some of those EVP recordings, it makes you wonder that do they know that they're dead? In that, if you get sick, I think there's two different versions of this. I want to hear your comments on this, Jason. Mm-hmm. If you get sick and you're going to die, that's one thing. And you may be able to have a near-death experience and go and come back and so forth. But what about somebody that gets blown up into smithereens, right? Your body's not coming back, and the death is sudden. You went from being alive to being in a world that you don't even know where you're at, right?
Yeah, it would be a very traumatic transition into the spirit world, and in that case, it might take a little while for that spirit to even realize that it's dead.
You don't know where you're at. You just don't know. It'd be like waking up from a dream, and you're just stuck in a world, and you don't know not only where to go, how to leave, how to ask questions. You just don't know. It must be, like you said, Groundhog's Day, just some crazy dream.
Because the spirit world is like that first stage of transition into the spirit world is a mirror of the physical world. So it would be very difficult to distinguish between the living and the dead. Absolutely.
Let's take a break right here. It's a good spot to do it. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue with your phone calls. It's Thursday night, Fader night. Jason Quitt is here helping me man the phones. 323-825-5045. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's easy. You can follow Jason Quitt at Jason_Quitt. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thursday night, Fader Night. We have Jason Quitt in here helping me man the phones tonight. His new film is called Into the Void. You can go and check out the trailer and the new website. It is intothevoid.movie, M-O-V-I-E, not dot M-O-V. Intothevoid.movie. Go check it out. The trailer is amazing. Jason, great phone calls tonight.
Oh, fantastic.
You know what? You should come in and do this more often. In fact, maybe I'll just take the night off and you can just take the calls.
Yeah, I'd love to sit in any time you want.
Oh, man. Rita, we just have our guest host audition. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to area code 786. You're up next on Fade to Black. Say hi to Jason. You're live. 3, 2,
2, 1. I hate to do that. I hate to do that to anybody. Let's go here. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
Wait, that was weird, Jimmy. My phone was ringing. It's Deb from Sacramento. Hi.
Hi,
the
Deb.
phone was ringing, and then all of a sudden, I just suddenly heard, "Hi, you're on Fade to Black." It came on really quick, so you took me by surprise.
Yeah,
I
there
thought
you
I was going to hang up.
Well, there you go. I mean, the phone lines are jammed, and I'm just grabbing them as they come in.
Yeah. Hey, I got to ask you something, Jimmy, about when you and your friends were in the car and the Grim Reaper came up. Did any of you pee your pants or throw up?
All of us did. I don't think anybody threw up, but I definitely think there was some moisture going on. We screamed. It was funny getting everybody's reaction, yelling at me not to roll down the window, and I was just like, man, this guy's standing outside the car.
You did.
Yeah, I did. That's exactly how it went down. Have you seen?
Well, you're brave. You're brave. For sure.
Well, you know, alcohol makes anybody brave. But there you go. What's on your mind tonight, Deb?
Well, you guys are talking about time slips, and I think you've had this guy on your show. His name's Zachary Quinto.
I did?
Does that ring a bell? I'm thinking
possible.
that you did.
Okay.
Well, anyway, he hosts a new show on, it's either Discovery or History, and it's called In Search Of. And last week, they did a show on time travel. So they told a story where they always do several different instances of time travel, and one of the segments was on time slips, and I'd never heard of them before. And they said that there were a lot of people in England that had been reporting this strange phenomenon. And I think it was on Kensington High Street, and they interviewed several people where they said they were walking down the street, and I think it's like one of the main shopping districts there, and they'd be walking down the street, and then as they turned the corner, all of a sudden, everything the buildings would look still nice, but older. All the cars were gone. There were horse and buggy, people in long coats and top hats, dressed differently, and they'd kind of just be watching and standing there and turning around observing this scene they were in, and then they'd turn back around or they'd keep walking down this all of a sudden the street was just all cobblestone, and then they'd turn the corner again and everything went back to normal. And I mean, they were back in present day, and there were people that were reporting this happening recently, and so they were saying that that's what time slips were. And I had never heard of them, and so I thought of that when you guys were talking about the time slip thing.
Yeah, I love it. And Jason, there's another, speaking of England, very old and famous story. It was a couple of sisters. I'm not going to take the time to look it up. I think it was 2 or 3 sisters. They're over in England taking a walk, and they come up onto this house, this mansion. I can't remember the name of it, famous. But they look over, and I believe this happened around 1930. That's my guess, right in that area. And they look over, and there is a Renaissance party going on. Horse and buggies, the parasol, the whole, and it was a period party going on. And they sat and they watched it for a while. They went back and told their family, and it made it into the news. There was nothing going on at this mansion on this property at that time. Absolutely nothing. And they went into great detail. I wrote a book about it, and it's a pretty famous story of a time slip that went down over once again in England.
I bet you that this happens more frequently than people know, and people will experience it, but they won't even realize that it was something out of the ordinary. They'll just keep walking on, and that's their day.
Right. Well, like the story I told you earlier. Deb, thank you for the phone call.
Well, thank you. You guys have a good weekend. Thanks for coming in, Jason.
Oh, thank you. Great story.
Thank you, Deb.
Take care. Bye-bye.
time slips are very interesting to me, and the story that I told earlier about the family vacationing out in the West, she didn't know, she thought she was looking at a reenactment, right? And that was it. She didn't, she went and grabbed her family, and you got to see this. This is great. It's so real, right? It's so real, but she didn't have any idea. And
well, I was just saying, you hear stories about this from ancient times or even medieval times, where they see something in the forest or they see a party and they go walk into it, and suddenly they're stuck in that era, even in the past or the future.
Right.
So they can never leave. They get stuck there. So it's a good thing that these people, they don't venture into these reenactments and walk around, because then they themselves can be the time traveler.
Yeah, and it makes me think about that disappearing house. Was that a time slip? Was it a house that used to be there and I just drove, into some kind of crazy vortex, and I was just at another place in time in Indianapolis? I don't know. I still can't explain the disappearing house. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, this is Mindy.
This is who?
This is Mindy from Pennsylvania. Not Wendy, but Mindy.
Ah, Mindy. How are you, Mindy? Say hi to Jason.
Hey. Hi, Jason. I just think that this is just like kind of a phenomenal night that I got you. I got blocked off. I'm here, and it's just amazing that I have both of you. First of all, Jimmy, I'm just appreciative that you've come into my life, and I don't know how you've been off my radar. I've been blogging for a while, and my spirit guide just guided me to a city ranch, and I didn't even know who you were. So I'm grateful to know who you are. And Jason's saying, Jason brought up the forest thing, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, I really got to call. So I call, and you're like, oh, 786 coming up. I'm like, okay, that's me. Get knocked off. I said, okay, should I call again? Okay, spirit guide, am I going to get knocked off for getting through this? I'm like, okay, let me try again. Okay, here we go.
Well, you're here now, Mindy. What's on your mind?
Well, first of all, it's this what Jason said, about the energy, and I got kind of transported. I feel like I go everywhere by my spirit guide, but I ended up in Pennsylvania on the edge of the woods. And like the woman that was in Arizona, and she saw the whole reenactment of the Civil War, I saw, I basically on a daily basis had been, I don't know, probably for almost a couple of weeks, I don't know how long it was, looking and seeing these images in the woods. Some days it was semis going through the space. It was huge. I mean, there were semis, full semis. I'm like, wow, it looks like that semi's doing 35 miles an hour. There's no road out there. It's the middle of the woods. There's nothing out there. Some days I'd see men parking their cars and walking places. And I guess the day that I saw the big blue lake, or I don't know if it was a lake, but it was the prettiest blue I'd seen in a long time. I just said, gosh, I got to start blogging about it. Well, when I started blogging about it, all the lights that used to, I'm sure there's some kind of energy, and that's again, Jason's here tonight, and I'm like, all the energy is focusing on you guys. It's just unbelievable. But all the lights disappeared. There used to be lights because people were coming to the woods, and I mean, they've had blowhorns and getting people out of the woods.
Well, what do you think? What? I had somebody call in to Coast a couple of weeks ago with a very similar experience with trucks and semi-trucks driving in and out of this area. And we've lost Jason, by the way. I'm going to bring him back here in just a second, Mindy. But you said as soon as you started blogging it, the lights stopped, the truck stopped?
Well, no. When I started blogging, it's something that everybody. I feel it's something that's at least the Army's aware of it, but it's something that everybody in this area really is aware of.
Have you walked out? Have you walked out there?
I've just fallen into the rabbit hole by. And I'm going to tell you, we just in this rabbit hole, and everybody it's my partner is the founder of Conspiracy Planet, so and we just happened to end up in a house on the edge of the woods that belonged to his mother, who once again I could have been with the Rappaport story about meds and that story. That's a whole nother story in itself. I guess I got a few stories for you. I said I'd come next Thursday when John was on and get into that, because one of the things I feel it's real important to touch on just a little bit off the subject back to John. In 2016 in Dayton, Ohio, 10,000 people overdosed legal and illegal opiates, and it didn't make the news. 10,000 in one city. I just think that should have been like front page news, and everybody should have been talking about it over coffee. But it's things are suppressed. I can't see into the woods because the leaves are full, but when the leaves disappear, I feel the Stargate is not. It's not like what Jason said. He said there's this energy, and they've been, and if you're the certain ley lines, and
well, why don't you? But Mindy, why haven't you walked out into the woods? Take a couple of friends with you.
No, it's not safe.
Well, that's why you need to take a couple of friends with you.
Yeah, I need a camera crew, but no. I mean, that would be the only way. I mean, I don't know that I would step in there at this present time and moment. I don't know. At the Yoseti Ranch, I came there because I needed answers to all of this that I'm experiencing.
Right.
And Michaela, like it was that whole experience, just everybody there, you included, were a whole new experience for me. And I was very grateful to have, Jimmy, you're great. I'm going to tell you, interview well, you're great. And it's mind-boggling how my spirit guide has connected me here. But Michaela, I have this thing in the sky. Michaela says it's a collective of beings. And so, I don't know if the Palladians said that, but it's a collective of beings that are there, and they're here. They came all the way to Oregon, and they came all the way back, and, they're here. And they're watching over, and I feel that this Stargate is a good energy. It's something that should be shared with everybody. I mean, Corey Good's coming out with things every day, which are validating a lot of the things that I'm experiencing and that I'm seeing, and moving it totally out of the 3-dimensional level. And it's a lot to grasp as you're seeing more. So I'm just glad you're there, and the people that I'm listening to and that I heard at this camp, that all they talked about was you, Jimmy. I'm like, Jimmy? I don't know Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. So you have expanded minds, and that's what I heard a lot. You've expanded minds and help people to see what's in front of them that they're not looking at.
Well, and thank you for that. But what I have found, and probably what I'm most appreciative of, is the family group that this audience is. This audience, and you're going to find that out as you go down this road with us, Mindy. Not only
I found that out when I spent 4 days at this ranch with you. And I have to say, Jimmy, and let me apologize because I literally had never heard your name before.
That's okay.
And when you see where I've come from, how much I've blogged and everybody's names, I know my God. I'm just like, oh, I had to go back and find your 2016 story of you coming on. I'm like, how do I not know this guy, you know? But when I got to that ranch, actually, I rented an RV behind you. And when I came to the place, the guy said, well, hey, there's somebody in front of you. I said, well, who could be in front of me? Oh, the number one guy. I said, well, who's the number one guy? Jimmy Church. I said, what's that? I don't know Jimmy. I'm sorry. But when I got there, that's all. Your name was the only name I heard. So I was just like, wow. And it was fantastic. The Fade to Black Soul Tech was just, it was over the top. It was more. I mean, I can't even believe that was just like a blessing. It was like a Christmas all-in-one package. Anybody who missed it, I'm so sorry you didn't make it, but it was a memory of a lifetime. So thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing it again next year.
Yes, we are doing it again next year. We have to do it again next year. I mean, there's just no question about it. And we're going to. But I think everybody shared the same experience up there that you did, because it was about making memories, meeting new friends, learning, and experiencing ECETI. And that's what Soul Tech was about. It was about teaching and getting together. And I knew that, and I said this so much, not only on this show. We got Jason back. Jason, are you there?
I am here.
Okay.
Hi, Jason.
Hi.
What Rita and I experienced last year at ECETI, we knew that if we got everybody together and worked with Modern Masters and Dana and John, that we would be able to get a group of people there that would experience what we experienced. And we did just that. We were there for a week. You were there for 4 days. We were there for a week, and I still miss it. And I wish we could have just kept it going for another 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. It was just an extraordinary experience.
That's what I saw, because what happened with me was I went to a couple people twice, and I missed a few people that I heard about that I didn't get to go to. Well, Jason, I made it to you, and so did my stepdaughter, and we were just very happy to have your books on the Egyptian posture and working on that. And it's all phenomenal. And like I said, Jimmy, thanks to you, and I thank my spirit guide for putting me there at the right time, the right place, at the right event.
Did I meet you? Mindy, did I meet you?
Oh, we met, Jimmy. We met.
Okay.
But for now, we'll just let it be in the air.
All right,
I'm gonna let your mind think about it.
Yeah,
but we met.
Okay, now I got to go back and look at
I'm in
pictures.
the picture.
You're in the picture with 200 other people.
I made the picture.
Okay, where are you in the picture?
Let's see. If you're facing the crowd, I would be on the left-hand side.
Okay, hold on for a second. Jason, Mindy, yes. Obviously, Mindy was at Soul Tech with us. So I'm going to see if I can find her. Hold on.
Well, let me see if I get Jason a recall, Jason. Jason, this is a recall for you. It was the end of your lecture.
Did I bump into you before ECETI conference?
No.
No, okay.
It was after your lecture in the hall, and you were at the front, and I actually caught you, and you signed a couple of books for me, and one was for my stepdaughter. Well, you can't remember.
I'm trying to remember the name.
Your presentation was good. The Egyptian posture. It's one of the things I wanted to ask you about is the energy of the cylinders. Is there energy through the cylinders when you're holding them?
I would say that It's the combination of, like, you're an antenna, and when you hold the cylinders, it's almost like the crystal that amplifies your antenna, and it helps you connect with the source energy. It helps you connect with the earth energy. So by holding the cylinders, what you're doing is you're creating almost like a connection between your energy body, the earth's energy body, and the source energy body. So it just helps bring everything into you, and that's why they're so powerful.
Mindy, what color's your hair?
Excuse me, one more question for Jason. I want to ask you something else, Jason. That I'm having a hard time. That left foot in front of the right.
Yes.
It feels so weird. It doesn't even feel right. What is that?
You know what, Mindy? That threw me off forever, and that's why it's your left foot. Okay, so that's Mindy. What color's your hair?
Black.
Okay, I'm looking for you on the left side.
I think we'll leave it for next week when I call him Thursday and John's there.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Mindy. I know. You see, there's so many people in this picture. So there you
I'm
go.
looking at this picture too, and I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm looking for.
But I just want to let you know, first of all, the both of you are there, which I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm calling, and literally, Jimmy, I just found the number yesterday, and I'm like, oh, Thursday is the open. Oh, well, is my spirit guide doing this for me? And then here you're both there. I'm like, oh, Jason's. Oh my gosh, you had John before Jason, so it's been a JJJ night.
Thank you so much, Mindy. Be safe and be well.
Thank you. Namaste.
Yeah, right back at you. Thank you so much. And with that, believe it or not, you guys are not going to believe this, but I lost Jason again. You know, and it's Canada. I'm just going to put it on Canada. There you go. I am so bummed out about this. Let me see if I can pull up Jason another way. I don't know if I can. No. I'm totally bummed out about this. I've lost Jason a second time. There you go. Well, it was a wonderful, wonderful Fader night tonight. I do want to thank everybody that called in, and, of course, John Rappaport, Jason Quitt to come in here tonight, and I can't even say goodnight to him to come in and man the phones, but it's the way it goes. It's live radio, right? And tomorrow I'm off. Saturday, I am over at Coast to Coast AM, and my guest is going to be Donnie Arcade. And also, I'm going to do open lines Saturday night on Coast to Coast AM. And with that, I'm just looking over, trying to get Jason back to say good night. I'm not going to be able to pull that off. I've got to roll on and get out of here. I want to wish everybody to have a great, safe, fantastic, and amazing weekend. And don't forget to come over and hang out with all of us over at Coast to Coast on Saturday night. With that, I'm going to get out of here, and I'll see everybody Saturday night on Coast. We will post up next week's guests, which are all ready to go, by the way. I know who they are. And we'll have all of that up tomorrow and Saturday. And until then, until Saturday and until Monday, this has been Faded Black. Faded Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show's produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar, Webmaster Drew the Geek. Announcers. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Thank you to John Rappaport and everybody who called in and tweeted tonight. This podcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Follow Jason at Jason_Quitt with 2 T's on Twitter. The new movie is called Into the Void. The website is intothevoid.movie. Until Saturday night, everybody be safe. Go back, Lee Tappy.